That's good. That's good. That's good. You know, a couple things that I've learned. So last night, Mike LeBrun said that he's actually learned to slow down. Holy mackerel! Woo, baby! You are moving, my friend. Another thing that I've learned, I said last night that actions are duplicatable, but people are not. Well, considering the number of texts and emails that I get from Mike, and the number that he's sending out to you guys, I'm pretty sure there are 3 of him. It's unbelievable. So, and I too would be a very rich man if I had $1 for every time I got a text or an email from Mike. So, so Mike, thanks a lot. That's a huge amount of energy that you produce. A good thing we have ATP and Cellgevity to keep that guy going. Can you imagine? What would happen if he didn't? He'd be like, just shut down. Just to give you guys a little bit about my background. So a lot of people here are guests, and one of the most important things and one of the most important concepts that Steve Scott will talk about a great deal is partnering. So it's important to know who you're partnering with. So if you've come here to evaluate Max, thank you very much. You're spending a lot of time. The most valuable commodity that you have is your time. And the last thing in the world that we would want to do is to have you waste that time. So you're here to take a good look at Max International, at our products, at our partners, at our leadership. This will give you a good idea as to whether this is a good place to spend your time. For me, it all started out in Brooklyn, New York. Yep, and this was like the 1970s. You guys ever see American Gangster? Yep, that was what it was like in Brooklyn when I grew up. It was me and my brothers, 2 brothers and a sister. Come from a mixed background. My dad is half Irish and half Polish, quarter Hungarian. My mother is African American. My brother, this is one of the places where I knew my brother would probably go into investment banking. My brother one day saw $1 on my grandmother's dresser, and he said, "You know what? I'm going to take that $1." So he took the $1, and my dad comes in, and he sees him take the $1. So you know what my brother does? Well, he runs, of course, out the door, down the street, at 5 years old, sprinting down the street with my father in hot pursuit. And at the time, you know, if you know the hairstyles of the day, we had these afros. I'm begging Dr. Nagasawa to come up with something. Help me. But at that time, we had hair, like lots of hair. It's like the Jackson 5. Woo! So here's my brother sprinting down the street, running, my father in hot pursuit, and he catches him at a major avenue. He grabs him by the fro. All right? You know, my brother's got, right? Now, a lawyer, a future lawyer would say, I've committed the crime, it's time to do the time, right? A future investment banker says the following: help, help, this white man's got me. That's nice, right? You know? And people come running over, leave that boy alone. This is my son. You know? Yeah, he would end up working at Goldman Sachs. You know, there you go. So my first job was, my father moved us out of Brooklyn, moved us upstate New York, where I was running a farm, basically. So I had chickens and pigs and cows, and I was selling eggs up and down the road. And this is the second part where I should have known that my brother would be an investment banker and I'd be a lawyer. So I was selling the eggs, so I was the one that was getting up at 5 in the morning and feeding all the animals. And my brother would be, I'm tired, I can't, you go. So I'd get up and I would do all the work. And so then I would also collect the eggs and I'd go up and down the road and I was selling them for 75 cents a dozen, because the way you attain status at school was who could buy the most chocolate milk. And they were like 6 cents a carton for chocolate milk and 4 cents a carton for white milk. And so it was important, you know, because I wanted to have status at my new school. So I was doing pretty well selling eggs, and the accounting was pretty simple because I could figure out exactly how many dozens of eggs that I was selling, so I would know how much money was in there. And one day I went in and I started counting, and there was money missing. I looked at my brother and I said, what happened? Where's the money? He goes, banking fees. Yeah, thanks, Dave. So then we moved back to Brooklyn, where I got my second job, which was delivering Chinese food. Well, that was a thrill, right? Delivering Chinese. Brooklyn hadn't changed that much, so it was a good thing that I was fast, because I was constantly being chased by people who wanted my money or my Chinese food. But that led to a good thing where I became a very good long-distance runner because I was constantly on the move, and I ended up finishing 85th in the New York City Marathon out of 29,000 people. So, all of these things, one thing leads to another. And then ended up going to Brooklyn Technical High School, where I was a chemistry major there, and then on to Union College. Union College was not exactly my first goal because I wanted to get to an Ivy League school, but hadn't quite done enough work to get there. So the first thing that I did when I got to Union was I set my goal as going to Harvard Law School. That was it. First day of school, all my friends were getting ready to go out and party, and they see me sitting there getting ready for bed. They thought, you're weird, dude. This is college. You're supposed to have a lot of fun. But I knew that I needed to dedicate myself to reaching the top goal. And the only reason I had picked Harvard was because it was the hardest school to get into by the numbers. Absolutely the most difficult thing. So through a lot of hard work, I managed to get in. I was pretty lucky, I felt. Like, whoa, that's awesome. And so at the end of college, when I was getting all these acceptances and stuff, my dating career in college was quite poor. But at that moment, I felt, hey, all those ladies who said no now look what's happening, huh? That caused the old ego to basically explode into something that this room might not even be able to contain. So I get over to Harvard, and the thing about that is it's like going into the major leagues when you suddenly realize, like, holy mackerel, these people are incredibly smart and they're incredibly hardworking. That's where I ran into our current president, not our current, Steve, you caused that to happen from this morning. Current president of the United States, Barack Obama. He was also at Harvard at the same time I was there. And this is a guy who, the first thing I thought was, darn it, he's going to beat me to it. He's going to be the first black president. And it was a little bit intimidating. The guy was working 10 hours per day in the library, incredibly smart, very, very intimidating person to meet in class. He used to intimidate professors, he intimidated other students just because the guy worked so hard. But that was a very common theme amongst all the students there, where they worked their tails off. It wasn't that these guys were going to have a hard time getting a job. They were all incredibly talented, but it was the work ethic. Every day, putting it in, no matter what, because they just had so much passion for what they were learning. And it was that I took with me into the real world, right? When you leave school and you go out and you want to become a corporate lawyer and you want to be at the top of your profession, they don't care about Christmas, New Year's, your birthday, dog ate your homework. It's all about delivery, legitimate hard work. Just doesn't matter where you came from. It's about whether you're going to deliver a product. Because when you were billing out I was billing out between $500 and $700 an hour. Yeah, that's quite a bill. So all you guys who I spend time with, I've been accumulating my time. No, they won't get a bill. You have to be delivering something that is worthwhile, right? Because there are a lot of very, very good lawyers. There are a lot of top people who are willing to put in the time and effort. And when I talk about putting in time and effort, I'm talking 16, 18 hours per day, every day. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It does not stop, right? When you have clients like Goldman Sachs, when you have clients like Bank of Tokyo Mitsubishi, which is the biggest bank in the world, you have to deliver the top level work. Period. Full stop. There is nothing else that is acceptable because they can go to somebody else who will do the job. So I became very, very, very adept at doing top-level work on a consistent basis because what my goal was at that point in time was to make sure that I made partner at one of these law firms. That was it. I was going to do that. As you can tell from the fact that I ran so much, running 80 to 100 miles a week. I have a little problem with being driven, right? I will push myself to the max every time because excellent results are what I demand of myself and all the people that I work with. And so as I was spending 15 years, driving towards partnership, I was actually right at the cusp. Finally, right there. The glory had come. I'd already made my mother proud by being a Harvard Law graduate, which was she got that sticker to to put on the back of her car, which was a euphemism for I am a great parent, you know. So now I'm about to become a partner in a law firm. I was literally maybe 8 or 9 months from that. And all I had to do was continue what I was doing. And I got this client called Max International. I threw a little bit of a crimp in my plan. Now this was December 19th, 2008. I got a phone call from a former classmate of mine that wanted to do an acquisition of this cellgevity technology. Okay, another client, you know, it's another way for me to prove that I am, yes, indeed, the man, and you should make me partner, because I can reach out and just grab clients from all over the United States. But, you know, I had to apply the same level of diligence to this transaction, which happened to be the smallest transaction that I had worked on in my entire career. The smallest, because I was used to working on multi-billion-dollar transactions, hundreds of millions of dollars in every single deal I worked on. This was tiny, little transaction, you know. But as you know, you have to still apply the same level of diligence, because you know, Steve, you might want to cover your ears. Shannon, you might want to. I didn't give them a discount. I was still billing them out at the same rate. But that meant that I had to apply the same level of diligence to what I was looking at. So when I went through the science of Dr. Nagasawa, and you guys have heard a lot about it, I went through this very, very thoroughly. But I am not a doctor. I am not a scientist. So we have, at my old law firm, have PhDs to do this. So they went through all of his science, all of the studies, and were absolutely stunned. Because they thought that, they asked me, literally, Joe, is it Merck or Pfizer that's buying this? Because they were clients of ours. And I said, no, it's Max International. Huh? Who? What? Who are they? Oh, it's a network marketing company in Salt Lake City. Why are they buying this? All they ever sell is snake oil, right? No, they're buying real quality science. It was unbelievable. Now, I was a little bit haughty. I called up Jeanette Roberts, who's the dean at Wisconsin for pharmacy. And I had asked her, because she'd done some of the studies, again, in the diligence process. I went through. I said, so flippantly, what is this stuff good for? And she said to me, you're asking the wrong question. What isn't it good for? Oh, come on. You can't pull the wool over my eyes. 15 years as a finance lawyer. Who is this magic pills that Jack sold? You know, those beanstalk beans? What, are you kidding me? That's a joke. What is it good for? You just don't understand what you're looking at. You really don't. You really need to do some more diligence. And so that's where I started to learn about glutathione and the fact that it is in every cell in your body. Right? Oh, okay. So as I started to read, as I started to learn about it, started to realize just how important these products are. And then I had my own product experience. So I was like, you know what? I might as well try this stuff, see if it works. Animal studies are one thing. We'll see if it works on my issues. And I had some pretty significant issues at the time, putting myself under a heck of a lot of oxidative stress from running, from working 16 hours a day, all that stuff, living in New York City. And so I had an unbelievable product experience. But I'm such a doubter, I couldn't believe myself. So I took it to my best friend, who's a cardiac surgeon. Gave it to him to look at. Because, you know, he has lives in his hands every day. And so he looked at the science, and he said, Joe, this is groundbreaking stuff. This is unbelievable. So after we finished that transaction and we got all of the technology to Max, appropriately protected, all of this stuff that protects your businesses very, very well, which means it's going to be here for the long term, very, very important. Max decided that they were then going to try to recruit me and leave New York City after 15 years of endless hours of work to walk away from a salary that I don't like to think about at the moment to go and move to Salt Lake City. Okay, right, you guys are a little bit whacked out. I'm really going to go work for a network marketing company. Very funny. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So all that to say that it comes down to a decision, right? I have a choice at that point in time, probably a lot like the people who are in this room as guests might have or might consider. What's the choice? How do you know whether this is the right thing to do or not? So I'm going to go through what my decision tree looked like. So here it is. Should I leave Pepper Hamilton, New York City? Do you know what I'm talking about, New York City? Do you know what it would be like to be king of New York City? I mean, it's serious. I mean, I was just there with Joe Montero and Mike LeBrun and Loretta and Sylvain Legault. And Joe, he had never been to New York, right, Joe? Okay, and so he said, oh, you know, Joe. And I can't imitate his voice because it's too baritone. He's much more of a man than I am. He goes, I thought that, all this New York stuff was kind of hype, but it's like Toronto on steroids. This is fantastic. So I was leaving that for what I will say is not Salt Lake City. That's like Toronto on some type of downer. It's a little bit quiet. We like the outdoors. It's peaceful and everybody's all happy and it's a lovely place, But it wasn't quite what I was, wanting to be when I grew up. I wanted to be in New York, on Broadway, That was what I was looking for. So this is a tough choice. So let's see. Let's look at some of the things that we had to consider. Right? One of the most important principles in my life is legitimacy. And what is legitimacy? Legitimacy is third-party criteria. So I'm looking for objective measures as to which way to make the best choice amongst my options. So it can't be that somebody who is part of Max right now tells you that this is the best thing, because that's bias, right? And this is the way Dr. Nagasawa conducts all of his science. He doesn't do the studies. He will provide people with product and allow them to run their own studies. That's third party. So I needed to look at third party criteria to decide whether this would be a good choice, as you guys might be doing right now. So, important question. The first thing that came up for me was, are the products that Max International offers excellent, unique products that are backed by legitimate science? Because is that Herb calling? No. Because that's the criteria upon which, that's the foundation of this business, right? It's the products. It's the products that represent us. It's the products that our reputations will be based upon. People will receive these products and they're going to say, wow, I had a great experience, or you know what, I can go run down to the local Walmart and I can buy this thing cheaper, right? I mean, why should I buy it from you when I can go to Costco and get it? Because then that's not going to do your reputation any good. Then you're going to feel like, you know what, I'm selling something that anybody can get anywhere and it's no different because it's just it's just marketing, right? So we need to know, are they unique? Are they backed by legitimate science? So so I had to look at the formulator of the products, Dr. Nagasawa. Is this man somebody that I will back my reputation on? Well, he's a PhD in organic chemistry, University of Minnesota in 1955. 32 years as the senior editor of the Journal of Medicinal Chemistry. 16 years senior research scientist with the Veterans Administration. 165 peer-reviewed published articles. Okay. He has a resume that's 19 pages long and on our website. I'm pretty comfortable with this guy. Are you guys okay with him? Yeah, if we can find a better scientist, please let him know that Max International is open to hire him. This guy is amazing. One of the things that we also wanted to look at is, the peer-reviewed published studies on ribosine. This is his invention. And you can find those studies on our site, a link to them. Right? There are 20 of them. Peer-reviewed, published. Very, very significant. These studies are not done by Max. They're done by other people, third parties. They're validating that this science is real. This science is important. And it's legitimate. It's third party. Very, very important. Now, in terms of my decision, when I looked at that, I said, okay, there is absolute legitimacy in the science behind the products. And I've gotten very lucky, right, that I knew, or maybe, it was either lucky or good, I don't know. But as somebody mentioned earlier today, we got a call in May from the Argentinian Medical Association. Now again, this is I don't know anybody at the Argentinian Medical Association. They're calling us, so they're a third party. They say, we're having incredible results with your products. Really? That's fantastic. Can you come down and present the science behind ribosine so that we can understand how this is happening? How are you raising glutathione levels so much with a product that costs so little? It's unbelievable, right? That's validation. That's third-party validation of the products that you guys have the opportunity to share with people. That's unbelievable. So we went down on November 7th, myself, Herbert Nagasawa, Scott Momi, and we presented this information to 150 doctors from South America, a couple from Europe, and Mexico. That's very important. This science is the foundation. The products are the foundation. And the more interesting thing is that we have so much science. We're just at the beginning of going through all of Dr. Nagasawa's inventions. So can I ask you guys, and again, I don't want to be, any time that I get hypocritical, stop me. Any of the doctors here, if I say something that's ridiculous, stop. Say, hey, that might not be true. Because we're trying to do a legitimate examination of whether this is the right decision. This is the only way to do it. So are we comfortable that the science here is sound? Okay, good. I was pretty convinced. So then the next thing I had to look at was glutathione. I had never heard of glutathione before. Now, I had considered myself pretty well read, pretty educated, but of course I was reading The Economist and the Wall Street Journal. I wasn't reading the Journal of Medicinal Chemistry. But I never heard of it. So is glutathione something that's important? Important question to ask. So again, let's look at some third-party criteria. PubMed, PubMed.gov is the U.S. National Library of Medicine, National Institutes of Health. This is where they're gathering all the articles, all the studies. Is it third party? I mean, certainly I don't control the U.S. government. So let's see. And I took a look yesterday, last night. I pulled up how many people have heard of omega-3s, right? Well, there are 17,181 articles as of last night. Vitamin B12, 25,646. Vitamin C, 48,925. Vitamin D, 57,269. And for a substance that barely anybody has ever heard of, glutathione, 104,512. So something is, again, this is third-party criteria. A third party, these are all these doctors and scientists who are putting up studies and going out and doing research. They are saying to us, this substance is very important. Is that fair? What are the things? Glutathione facts. These are things that you heard today, but these are things that I looked at before making my decision. Glutathione is made in your body. Glutathione is your cell's main detoxifier. More third-party evidence. Dr. Oz, I'm going to say this right now because I know this is on tape. Dr. Oz, Dr. Katz, Dr. Hyman, I don't know them. They may not have ever heard of Max's products. They are not endorsers of our products. But when they commented about glutathione, here's what they said. Dr. Oz, February 3rd, 2011, on his show, it's called Glutathione, the Superhero of Antioxidants. Dr. David Katz, director of Yale University, Yale Safety School, Yale University's, oh, come on, some of you caught that. You know, Harvard did beat Yale for the 6th consecutive time in the game. Okay. Director of Yale University's Prevention Research Center called glutathione the most important antioxidant. And Dr. Hyman said it's the most important antioxidant to maintain health. Again, I don't know these guys. They're telling us third-party glutathione, critically important. Okay, I can buy that. I can buy that. So do we think that glutathione is important? Is this legitimate? Okay. Next thing that we have to look at, right? Okay, so now I know that the science behind the products is solid. I know the developer of the products is a scientist of unbelievable quality. Now I have to look at, and I know that glutathione is pretty critical. Let's look at the market, right? We want to examine this and say, is there a market for this? So what's the size of the market, right? Because we want a big market, right? Be better than a small market if we're going to be in business. So the U.S. Census, 2010, people over 45, 122 million. Now, we heard earlier today that glutathione levels start to decrease as you age, starting at about age 20, right? So I wanted to look at a market. Let's look at a market where the glutathione levels are really depleting. Let's look at 45-year-olds. 122 million people in the United States are 45 and older. That's a big market. So let's look at Canada. 2012, population Canada, approximately 35 million with the median age of 40, meaning that 50% of the Canadian population is 40 years and older. So I don't know how to break this bad news to you guys, but your marketplace is 17.5 million people over the age of 40. Is that enough? I mean, really? I mean, you walk outside, you've got a pretty big market right here. That's pretty exciting. So is it fair to say that the market for Max's products is huge? I mean, just huge. It's huge here in Canada, right? It's huge in the United States. There are a lot of people on this planet, a whole lot of people. And a lot of them have depleted levels of glutathione after age 20. We live in a toxic environment. There are all sorts of stressors that are coming. These are things that are affecting our market, that are affecting people who are going to be looking for a solution. So, market's pretty good, right? Are we okay with the market? You sure? Do you want a bigger market? I could try to create a bigger market, but that would involve trying to age people over 20 quicker and increasing the population, but it's a big market. So, okay. Go south in the winter, yeah. Timing. So that's the next thing I had to say. Okay, is this the right time to be involved with a company like Max? I'm happy with the products. I'm happy with the science. I'm comfortable with the market size. But if I have a fax machine and it's 1915, that's not so good. You guys ever hear of Farlow Farnsworth? But you all use his device. Farlow Farnsworth invented the television. So timing is a lot. When is the market ready to accept the products that you have? So let's see, is this the right time for Max to have success? All right, so let's think about what are those issues. What are the things we have to think about? What are the big issues of today? Healthcare costs, huge, right? We hear about healthcare costs all of the time. Now, this is where some of the expertise of being a finance lawyer comes into play. How are we going to take, how do you manage healthcare costs? I will put it to you this way. There's only one way. There's only one real way to do it. That is to keep people healthy. That's it. Once you become part of the system where you are using, needing surgeries and needing to go to hospitals, it becomes expensive. So you have to keep people healthy. So how do you do that? We got to think about how to keep people healthy. Does anybody in this room know of a supplement that will help keep people healthy by increasing the levels of glutathione? Anybody? Yes. Yes, so that's good. So I think that we may be in the right place. And we know that this is important, keeping people healthy, right? That's the theme. People know about wellness programs now. Do you know why wellness programs are coming into play? You may think that it's altruism, but it's not. It's because insurance companies recognize that, if we keep people healthy, then they don't use the insurance, right? That's economically driven. Keep them healthy, they don't use insurance. That's why those programs arise. So that's why people are becoming more aware of staying healthy and healthy choices. And when people start to look for healthy choices, we're going to find that they're going to be looking for something that supplements their levels of glutathione and keeps them healthy. And I think that this company I know that this company has the best products. So, next question in terms of investing, right? Is it better to invest in companies early or late if there's going to be success? Early, right? Because that's the time when you have the biggest level of return. So, again, the question is Max at an early stage or late stage company? We're early stage, right? We're small. But as evidenced by the fact that we filled this room, but we shouldn't be filling a hotel based upon some of the science that we have. So do people know about glutathione yet? Do they? No, they don't. Now that's pretty dang exciting to me. Because in the 70s, omega-3s, people were just learning about them. So the opportunity is that we get to take this story to the world. That is very exciting. Very, very exciting. So, you know, the big difference between the 70s and now is the internet. Mike showed you texts, emails. Good news travels very, very, very quickly. People are going to, so I think, I don't want to make this assumption, but it's safe to say that people are going to learn about things quicker today than they did in 1970. Is that fair? So the next thing I had to talk about, and I had to get myself over, is this network marketing thing, right? For me, that was a big, big thing. Because I'm going from, you know, a big-time law job. I didn't even think about network marketing. Didn't even consider it, really. But if we're going to do an examination of it, let's take an objective look. Is this a good business model? One of the things that we have to think about when we're looking at any opportunity or opportunity cost, how much does it cost us to get involved in the business? And let's look at it legitimately. You guys have heard of McDonald's, right? Okay, I just went on their website. $250,000, it says, to start the conversation. I was like, oh, daddy, hello. And then we get to pay them 4% of our gross income plus rent. And the rent is based a percentage of gross. Well, thank you very much, but that is not in my price range. Good night now. You guys know Tim Hortons, right? $480,000 to $510,000, plus $50,000 of working capital. Fantastic! Oh, I just pull out that $500,000 and let's go have some coffee. Oh Lord! If you want to start, let's go a little bit more moderate. If you want to start a deli, you can do that for about between $10,000 and $50,000. And then Max International, you can start as low as $49 and goes up to $1,000. Steve, we're going to be raising our prices. We have grossly underpriced ourselves. So, this is legitimate criteria. Would you rather have a high cost of capital or a low cost of capital? Low cost of capital, because you know why? You want a low cost because you're mitigating your risk, right? I'd rather risk $49 than risk $480,000. That's a bigger risk, right? So low capital is good, I'd say. Low risk. So what do you get for your capital when you invest, right? Because when you're running a McDonald's or you're running a Tim Hortons or you're running a deli, you're going to have to do a heck of a lot of work, right? Even though you're paying all that money to go into those companies, which are very legitimate and good businesses, obviously, because they exist, but there's a high level of risk and there's a lot of work to do. With network marketing, or with Max International in particular, these are the things that we do. We manage inventory, right? Okay? We manage distribution. Sometimes we don't manage it perfectly. Sorry about the ATP issue. We manage product approval, right? Very, very important, right? My good friend Jim Stravalia, who was at Pepper Hamilton with me. Now, Jim, those of you who don't know, 30-year tax partner. 30-year tax partner. I gave him the product one day. I walked into his office because I had that experience, and I said, Jim, you got to try this stuff. Tell me what happens to you. He goes, oh, okay, I'll try it. And so he takes the product. I come back 3 weeks later because I didn't tell him what happened to me. And I said, Jim, anything happen? No, nothing happened. Nothing. I'm running better. I'm getting in better shape. I'm not in as much pain, but, I don't think it works. Oh, okay, great. 2 weeks later, this is Jim walking into my office. Oh, Joe, what? Am I addicted to that stuff? Like, what, Jim? What happened? He's like, I'm in agony. I ran out of product. I'm dying. He had quite a profound experience. And so when I called him up and said, hey, Jim, you want to come out with me to Salt Lake City and help me run this company? He said, you know, Joe, those products are unbelievable. And he left his practice, 30-year tax partner, to come to be the head of our international. So that's unbelievable. So that's and what does that say to about your businesses? That means that when we go into a country, we're there to stay. We're going to do everything right. We're going to make sure that we build the foundation of this business on complete legitimacy and make sure that all the time and all the effort and all the investment that you guys make into helping these dreams come true for so many people are not going to be taken away because we're rushing to make a buck. That's not going to happen. This is a legacy company. We're going to be here for a very, very long time. And to do that, sometimes you have to be patient and you have to do things the right way so that you don't dishonor all of the effort that people are putting into this business. And then we manage your commissions. We manage commissions. We manage to do payroll. I know there are a lot of entrepreneurs in this room who own businesses. How much fun is that? Doing payroll, all the accounting. It's a lot of work. Well, and creation of marketing materials. We've got Steve Scott, who's one of the greatest marketers in the history of the world, helping to create all of our tools, all of our marketing. That's pretty good. We develop new products. As I said, we've got a litany of science that's coming. Litany. Our product development is fantastic. Our products have to be world class. They have to be the top. And they are. And they will continue to be. And we help hold events like the convention that's coming up. I hope you guys get there. Convention in September is going to be outstanding. It is going to be unbelievable. You have to come to convention. Very, very important. And then we provide training and leadership support. Again, very critical. So let me go back to this slide. What the heck? Steve, we're going to have to raise prices. Just have to do it. So, I mean, low cost, it's pretty good. Is this a fair deal? I mean, we're just trying to be objective. That's all. So then we have to look at, okay, for my low cost of capital, what's the potential return? I've got groundbreaking products. I've got protected science, right? Got a huge market and a growing company with tremendous potential. Wow. So for that low cost of capital, is the return in this business potentially high or low? It's high, right? It's very, very high because everybody needs glutathione enhancement, right? I mean, I'm not being hypocritical. Your marketplace is absolutely huge. So good, high potential return, that's exceptional. So are we okay on the return possibilities here? I mean, and my God, I mean, when you think about the fact, I mean, Chris mentioned it, that you have to be on auto ship for $100 a month for product, you know, and that's how I get to, you know, a lot for $1,000 and all that. But you're taking products that you should be taking. I mean, so we're giving you, here's the funny thing. We're telling people, you know, to be in the business, you have to be, to make a commission check, you have to buy $100 worth of product that you should be consuming. Steve, there's something wrong with what we're doing here. I keep this. All right, so let's think about this one. Loretta is an investment advisor, right? What would you tell your clients? First rule of investing. Oh, there you are. Diversify, right? Diversify, diversify, diversify. So what's wrong with diversifying your incomes? Right? We heard Barry talk about what happened to him with his job in the computer industry. There was a bit of downsizing. And fortunately, he was one of the early associates at Max, and so his check kept on coming. His check kept on coming. That helped bridge that gap. That's why diversity is important. Because if something isn't going well here, you can have something else. So diversifying your income is important. As we talked about, another hallmark of investment philosophy is invest early, right? $1 in your 401k early is much better than $5 20 years hence, right? Fair principles? So are we early in Max right now? Absolutely, absolutely. Working environment. You know, at my job in the law firms, I didn't get to choose who I worked with. They just gave them to me. Here, you can work with this person. Here's your transaction. Go to work. Do we get to choose who we work with in this business? Do we get to choose our partners? Absolutely. That's pretty good. You get to choose the people you work with. You get to spend time with people you like. You get to decide how much you want to work, right? If you want to work 2 hours a day, you can do that. There's a huge difference psychologically between have to and want to. I want to be here. I want to do this every day as long as I can because it's just so much fun. It's just great. I used to have to go to work. Huge, huge difference. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? Again, stop me when I'm lying here. And the most important thing is the residual income. Let me illustrate it to you this way. I spent 15 years as a lawyer. I worked endless hours. Do you know how much money my old law firm send me today for all that work? Zero. Absolute zero. Nothing. I've acquired some intellectual capital, some may argue that, but zero. All that work, nothing. Mike has given you guys a good example today. A gentleman who was in the business, hadn't really worked the business, but you know what? It's there. That's what's so beautiful about, one of the most beautiful things about this. You can come, you can walk away, things happen in life and distraction, but your business is still there. That's pretty incredible. You know what that is? That's excellent diversity. Excellent diversity. You step away, you come back. It's still functioning, right? So the question is do you believe that Max will be here for the long term? Absolutely we're going to be here for the long term. Do you believe that we're going to be in every country in this world? Absolutely we are. That's the type of opportunity that I want. That's the type of opportunity that I want to be a part of. And that's the opportunity that is in front of each and every one of you right now. It's pretty darned incredible, if you ask me. It's unbelievable. There's only one thing that I always promise people when they come to this business, because what matters most is your ability to partner with people, your dedication to you. You have to have a deep belief in yourself first to be able to be successful. You have to be willing to share these products with people. You have to be willing to communicate with people. As you looked at our compensation plan, it is predicated on your helping others. You will not be successful in this business if you can't. So if you can't do that, then it's not for you. And that's okay. But if you are about working together, if you are about partnering with people, you will be enormously successful in this business at this time. This is the right time to be here. And when you share these products, this is the one thing I promise you. If you share these products with enough people, someone is going to come up to you and say, "You changed my life." They're going to thank you because you shared these products with them. That's the only thing I can promise you, because it happens every single time. So when you can help people with their health, and when you help a person with their health, it has such incredible ripple effects. Think about it. Think about when I took the products and it changed. It allowed me to continue to run. It allowed me to continue to be active. It affects my mood, how I interact with my friends, how I interact with my family, my attitude towards my day. The ripple effect is unbelievable. That's the type of impact that you guys can have on people. You share these products with people, it changes them on a day-to-day basis throughout their whole life. The ripple effect of that is unbelievable. Steve talks about success with significance. You can't have anything more significant than that. You can't. And then, if you get to help people build a business, have income, you're affecting the two most important things in people's lives: their health and their wealth. That's an unbelievable opportunity. And we can do this on a global basis. We see it in the Philippines right now. We see it here in Canada. We see it in Colombia. This is going on, and it is real. And it's amazing. And I am so privileged to be a part of that. I haven't worked a day since I joined Max International, because I want to be here. And you know what? I want to work with you guys. So Thank you.